The Canterville Ghost has been on my list since it came out last year, and I finally got round to watching it, and it's not too bad. This was released in 2023. It's directed by Kim Burdon and Robert Chandler, and written by Giles New and Keiron self, based on the short story by Oscar Wilde. And I don't know if I've read the short story before. It's been a while since I read anything by Oscar Wilde, so if I have, I can't remember it. So I can't compare it to the short story. I can't say exactly how it matches for the adaptation. If anybody has any thoughts on that, please feel free to share. We also have an amazing voice cast, including Stephen Fry, Hugh, Laurie, Freddie Highmore, Imelda, Staunton, Miranda, Hart. Really fabulous voice cast, and the narrative is not too bad. This family, the Otises, move into Canterville, and I love the design of the house. It is absolutely gorgeous. The animation across the board is so stunning, but the house in particular is so beautiful. And when they get there, they realise that there is a resident ghost, Simon de Canterville. And the story mostly follows the character of Virginia, who's voiced by Emily Carey, and her quest to help the ghost. And I won't say exactly what the ghost needs help with, but we learn about his past and what his life was like when he was on Earth and why he's kind of stuck in this position. And it's quite interesting. It's a fairly fascinating narrative. I think it's quite unpredictable. I didn't necessarily love where it went in kind of the final third of the film. I guess it's just not necessarily the direction that I wanted the story to go in, but obviously if it's adapted from Oscar Wilde's story, and if that is how Oscar Wilde's story ends, or at least kind of where the narrative goes, then fair enough. But it is interesting. I did like the concept. I thought the characters were really likeable. I really liked Sir Simon. I thought he was a really interesting character. He's voiced by Stephen Fry, and in fact all of the characters were very well done. The voice acting was brilliant. Miranda Hart is another standout for me. I thought her character was pretty wonderful. As I mentioned before, the animation is stunning. It is so beautiful. The ghosts are not completely translucent, but there's a decent amount of colour there, but at the same time it's very easy to identify which characters are ghosts and which ones aren't. And I think that everything is just so beautiful to look at. So we have a pretty interesting narrative, some gorgeous animation, and a brilliant voice cast. It's really good. And, well, I was going to say it's been worth the wait, but I realise it's only been about a year. But nevertheless, it has been worth the wait. And if it sounds like one that would appeal to you, if you've been considering watching it and you haven't yet got around to it, then I thoroughly recommend it. If anybody has read or can remember reading Oscar Wilde's short story, please feel free to let me know how it compares. I probably will get round to reading it or potentially rereading it. I did read a collection of Oscar Wilde's short stories, but I can't remember if this was one of them. It's been about a decade and my memory isn't great. But either way, I might actually read it at some point, but I don't know when I'll get around to that, so please do feel free to let me know how it compares if you have any thoughts there. And if you've been considering this, or even if you've only just heard of it, then I definitely recommend it. I thought The Canterville Ghost was a pretty decent film.